We welcome Ken Trogden, president of HarborPath. Hey, Ken.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thanks for coming on. So tell us a little bit about HarborPath, exactly what you guys do.
So, Gerard, we're a 501c3 based in North Carolina, and our focus really is putting medication in the hands of folks who need it or need access to it. And we, in the last 3 years, have gotten heavily involved in the opioid fentanyl crisis throughout this country and have been working down in Mississippi over the last year, and delighted to talk about what we're doing in your great state.
Gotcha. So you're actually, as I understand it, coming to the Gulf Coast. Is that correct?
Correct. I'm in Gulfport today. I'll be with Attorney General Lynn Fitch at the community college here. We're going to be talking about overdose rescue boxes and putting those on college campuses in the state.
And so you said you were 501c3. So this is funded with private donations, I assume.
That's correct. So everything that we do around this crisis, Gerard, is all funded privately. It's not public money, state money. We have, we're working in multiple states, and each of our initiatives there are each privately funded. This crisis is growing at alarming rates. If you look at all the stats, we know, that it is the number one killer of folks 18 to 45 years old now. And it doesn't have one demographic. We're seeing more and more high school and college kids overdosing, and that's in large part while I'm in Mississippi today.
So Ken, when these young people in particular, when they are ingesting whatever it is, because often just normal drugs, right, are laced with this substance, which is deadly, and it only takes a very small quantity, honestly, to take a life. Are they doing it knowing that they're ingesting fentanyl? They're seeking some sort of high, or are they doing it without knowing?
That's a great question. They're doing it unbeknownst to them. They're typically buying it off Snapchat or other social media platforms. They're buying Adderall, Xanax, Percocet. It's laced with fentanyl, and they don't know it's laced with fentanyl. So when they digest it, based on how much fentanyl is in the actual pill, can determine an overdose. And we're seeing, particularly on Snapchat, where drug dealers are pushing this out there, and kids don't know what they're buying. Students do not need to be buying any type of pills off social media, because you don't know what you're getting.
Well, what about the social media companies, Ken? How do we hold them accountable? Is there a move to enact legislation to try to detect that sort of content on those platforms and eliminate it?
Hey, Joel, that's another great question. There's a lot of pressure on these companies now to look at what they're doing with their platforms. Not only Snapchat, but Twitter, Facebook. Drug dealers have gotten very sophisticated in how they're able to reach their market, and in terms of how they're impacting kids. All college kids today live on some type of social media platform. What is really challenging is that there's no way to know when someone orders online medication such as Adderall, how much of it is laced with fentanyl, or if it is laced with fentanyl. And time and time again, we hear the stories of a young student ordered something on social media, went to a party, popped a pill, and didn't wake up the next morning. And that's a travesty that should never happen.
So your organization, Ken, as I understand it, is working with Ole Miss, in particular Ole Miss Athletics, to get the word out and to distribute these Narcan packages. Tell us about that.
Sure. So we were here last fall for the Arkansas Ole Miss game, which was my first experience at the Grove, and had the opportunity to meet several fathers who had lost their sons to fentanyl overdose, and talk to them about how we could really reach a much broader population of students on the campus of Ole Miss. So we worked with the Grove Collective and Walker and his team there to identify 6 athletes that really we could target around fentanyl education. So we created a PSA series or PSA campaign and launched it on social media platforms And these were students, athletes, Gerard, that had really high social media followings. So when we launched it the first day, I think we had 92,000 hits off our first day launching the campaign, and the numbers just grew from there. You look at Jordan Watkins, who really has become, in some ways, the spokesperson for what we're doing on college campuses. Jordan was personally impacted by addiction from his family, um, and he's very open about it. And he was passionate on the issue. And I had the good fortune of also tying this in with A.G. Fitch with her One Pill Can Kill campaign, and it's really resonating with folks, I think, on the campus of Ole Miss. And because of the success we've had here, we're now talking to a number of SEC schools to replicate it in other campuses.
Ken, what about legislation? I know you referenced our AG, Lynn Fitch. In fact, I interviewed her on this day last week and caught a presentation she did to a political group this past Saturday at breakfast, and she spoke about this. But is there any legislation we should be looking at the state or federal level, and that would be at all states?
You should be. I know that you're, like most states, folks in the legislature now are being personally impacted by this, and it's a passion, and it's an issue that's not going away. I think legislators are more attuned to this now, and in terms of looking at local and state and regional legislation, how can we impact these social media platforms from selling medications to our kids that are ultimately killing them? Something's got to be done. It's got to be done sooner than later.
Yeah. Well, what about other attorneys general, Ken, in other states? Do they have efforts to pursue these bad actors?
They do. We're working aggressively with Attorney General Griffin in Arkansas. He's very in step with A.G. Fitch. We're working with A.G. Coleman in Kentucky, who's right in line with both of them. We've seen it state by state, and as one state, but the crisis is the same state by state regardless. And I think AGs, as were the attorneys that negotiated the settlements that are supporting a lot of the work that we're doing in these states. So having attorney generals on board with our strategy is really, we hope at the end of the day, going to save lives, and that's our focus.
Ken, it seems to me like getting college students, athletes and others, kids that are in that age group that are mostly being affected and duped by this scam, it seems to me that would be very effective. Are you finding that to be the case? Is that resonating with others? It
is. As these athletes on college campuses are major influencers. They're gods, and if we can align with these athletes to really focus on the issue and educate their student body buddies and talk about what a crisis is and that one pill does kill. I've got in front of me right now, I've got the emergency rescue box that we're going to be giving out today at the community college here with Attorney General Fitch, that will go on campus. That one pill can kill really does resonate, and it really does take one pill to kill.
Yeah, I'm looking at your website, and it apparently students could get free Narcan at the William McGee Center inside the South Campus Recreation Center, no questions asked. Is that right?
That's right. We partnered with the McGee Center last winter when we were down here shooting the NIL campaign, and they've got a great leadership at that McGee Center. Narcan is free, no questions asked. David McGee, Cal Mayo, great guys that got behind what we were doing, along with Walker and your terrific football coach at Ole Miss. And it just takes staying out there, Gerard, on top of this and keeping the word in front of folks, because I think students particularly think, it's never going to happen to me. I'm invincible.
Yeah.
And it can happen to anybody. And it literally, it's ordering one pill off social media that can change someone's life within seconds.
Ken, sounds like a great program, and thank you for working right here in the state of Mississippi with our universities, our colleges. I assume you're going to be at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College. Is that right, when you're on the coast?
That's right. Yep, I'll be there this afternoon with Attorney General Fitch. Looking forward to it.
Appreciate that. Sounds good. Ken, thanks for coming on. Enjoyed the discussion. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Gerard.